Hey, I'm Sam.
And I'm Greg.
And today we're reviewing Operation Condor, AKA Operation Condor 2, Armour of the Gods, AKA just Armour of the Gods.
AKA another Jackie Chan film.
Jackie Chan, the world's #1 action hero. Star of Operation Condor, Rumble in the Bronx, and Super Cop is back, on the loose, and in your face.
I'll start by explaining why the title's all fucked up. It's because Armour of the Gods came out in Hong Kong, and maybe in other countries, but it didn't come out in the US, right? Then a sequel came out called Armour of the Gods 2, Operation Condor. Came out in Hong Kong. And by that point, Jackie Chan was a big deal in the US too. The second one, Armour of the Gods 2, Operation Condor, did come out in the US. But the first one never had. I don't even think it had like a DVD release at that point in the US. So they couldn't call it Armour of the Gods 2, Operation Condor because everyone in the US would be like, what the fuck is it a sequel to? Right? So they had to. So instead, they just dropped the Armour of the Gods and they just called it Operation Condor, right? Then I think a different company acquired the rights to Armour of the Gods, and they were like, "Oh, Operation Condor was big in the U.S. Let's re-release the original."
First one,
except at that point,
for the Americans, it would be a prequel.
It would be a prequel, but instead of that, they decided to pretend it was a sequel, even though it looks a lot older and it did come out first. So they called the original. They then called, instead of calling it Armour of the Gods, they then called it Operation Condor 2, Armour of the Gods.
Operation Condor 2, the Armour of the Gods.
So the movie that was supposed to be called Armour of the Gods 2, Operation Condor, then became Operation Condor. And the movie that was Armour of the Gods then became Operation Condor 2, Armour of the Gods. That's not supposed to happen with your stabilizer. His camera just... It's fine now.
Fixed.
Yeah, that's the kind of energy you can expect from this.
Yeah,
review.
this 2-candle setup.
2 candle, 1 picture frames.
Yeah.
So it's like backwards. So even on the
one
DVD,
that we just watched was the original.
Is the first one that came out
2.
like 6 years before the other one. And even if you watch it on the DVD, right? On the DVD, it's called, like when you choose the menu, it's Operation Condor, Operation Condor 2. It doesn't even have the Armour of the Gods subtitle. So you have to, if you want to watch them in order, you have to go skip Operation Condor, watch Operation Condor 2, and then you go back and watch Operation Condor.
And there's 3, right?
No, there's only 2. There's 3 movies on that DVD, but the third one's just completely unrelated. The basic premise of this movie is it's Jackie does Indiana Jones, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
With maybe a little hint of, not really, I would say a little tiny hint of James Bond, but not really, only in like his car with the like nitro mode or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very James Bond thing.
Because the last Indiana Jones was like really horrid, I guess. Like with what's his face, The Rock as a scorpion, right? Wasn't that Indiana Jones, or was that James Bond?
Those are the Mummy movies.
That was the Mummy.
Yeah, he was the Scorpion King. The Rock was the Scorpion King in the Mummy franchise.
Right. It also bears some similarities to the Mummy franchise too.
This is before those Mummy movies, though.
Yeah, but you know.
I mean, it's after the old Boris Karloff Mummy, I suppose.
Just agree.
The other movie is similar to this one. And maybe the Mummy took some inspiration from Armour. Oh, he's got a gun under the table. Anyway, yeah, it's Jackie Does Indy. Should they have called him Jackie Anna Jones?
Jackie Anna Jones.
So this one is...
It's my least favorite Jackie Chan movie so far.
That's the thing is... So it's been a few years since I last watched this. The last time I watched this was I had like a Jackie Chan night with a bunch of people. And this was like one of like 5 or 6 movies we watched. So it's been a long time since I had seen this one. I remembered it a lot more fondly, I'll say, than our experience just watching it now. Mm-hmm. It was a lot messier in terms of like the storytelling. It was kind of muddled. It was kind of all over the place. There wasn't as much action as I remembered.
No.
There's long stretches where
it makes it feel like a lot longer of a movie. Like I felt the movie was like
it's only like
really
it's
long.
like an hour 28 minutes.
Is it really?
Yeah,
it felt like at least 2.
It's like just under an hour and a half, but it feels a little longer.
It doesn't follow a normal
and I think a big part of the problem with it is that the humor misses a lot more often than in most of Jackie's movies.
Chan,
a lot of the jokes just do not land in this one.
Yeah, and I liked some of the bits, but I thought the delivery was just really weird.
Yeah, I think
and the editing within this movie was not great.
I'll say the cinematography's
at times, I guess.
The cinematography is pretty good. Like it's a lot of clean visuals, a lot of nice camera movements, but it's edited in a kind of awkward way. There's a lot of like jarring jump cuts and just some like there's that one shot where like Jackie is in the room. He's in a room in this big mansion, right? And the guy opens the door, and there's a shot down a hallway, and like they're about to walk down the hallway. But then it cuts to them just walking into another room, like at the end of the hallway.
Right.
It was just bizarre the way that they shot, like they established the hallway as if they're about to do like a walk. And
it's like a gorgeous, beautiful.
It almost looked like they didn't have, they weren't allowed to film in that hallway or something, so they had to like edit around it. I don't think that was the case. But
or they fucked up the footage or something like that.
Yeah, it almost feels like a deleted scene. And we know there's at least one deleted scene because we saw a blooper from it in the credits.
Well, yeah, then there's a whole bunch of plot points that kind of dance around later on too. But let's just talk about the beginning, I guess.
Right,
so the beginning,
we'll start the opening scene.
Yeah, I think it's like a tropical.
He's in Africa. They say Africa. They don't specify where in Africa.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a little racially insensitive at best.
Yeah, to say like somewhere in Africa, this shit is going on.
Yeah, like it's very much like
woogity woogity bo bo ha.
Yeah, it's like
it's supposed to be set in like the 80s, right? Well, it looks like it's set in the 80s. That car and shit.
The movie's from the 80s.
Right, but it looks like it's set in the 80s too.
Oh, right, yeah, it's not like a period piece. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, so there are like tribes like way out in the Amazon that have like no like interaction with
and I'm sure Africa has some stuff going on too, but not like that. That's pretty. The
depiction's definitely stereotypical at the absolute best. It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The lack of there was no dubbing in that opening scene, and there were no subtitles. Yeah. And then we realized the only thing that kind of makes sense is maybe he's supposed to be like speaking their language, but it's very clearly
it's not obvious.
Language.
Yeah.
Well, it's not clear if that is what's happening. I'm still not sure that that's what's happening. If it is, then there's no dubbing and there's no subtitle. Well, it is dubbed, but it's not dubbed in English. Like his voice is still dubbed there, but it's dubbed in
whatever.
I honestly don't think it's any language. I think he might just be like speaking gibberish or something.
Because we were immediately going like, where are the subtitles?
Yeah, because it's the first
English.
The movie just opens. There's no like opening to the movie. It's like you're just kind of in the movie.
You're actually just with Jackie Chan and he's hiding.
Yeah, it's like the opening credits come up,
which is an Indiana Jones thing.
Well, yeah, but Indy has like a build-up where it's like you don't see his face for a while, right? Like they hide his face, and you show him walking, and then you see the hat, and then his face is in shadows, and you see the whip and whatever. This is like pan up to temple. Jackie sticks his head through
opening credits.
Yeah,
opening credits.
And there's no like reveal of Jackie. It's just he just kind of like pops into the frame, and you don't know who he is. You're like, why he's there. So yeah, the opening is let's say it hasn't aged well.
Yeah, one could say that.
Which is a shame because it kind of makes it hard to enjoy the action that's going on. And there is some cool action. Like I really like the bit where like he kicks the brazier over, you know? And then the sliding down the hills thing is really cool.
It just becomes it makes it seem like it's just stunts for stunts or like action choreo for action choreo. There's no like reasoning for it. So
we don't know who he is.
Pulls away from it.
You didn't even realize what he was stealing. It was the big sword.
I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
I was just like, I don't know what's happening.
It needed some kind of like establishing. Like,
it was a shit intro, in my opinion.
Well, I think the action's actually good. Like it's well conceived, well put together and stuff. It's just it's not set up. The opening is very notable because, as you saw in the credits, in the end credits, they show I was going to say the blooper, but it's not a blooper. It's a bad injury. It's a very serious injury. So there's one stunt, and you see it in the movie. Like, they went back and they shot it. He did it right. Obviously a big stunt, but it's fairly simple as far as, like, Jackie Chan's stunt, Bible goes. Like,
exactly.
Out of all his stunts, it's a pretty simple one.
3 stories in a mall.
Yeah, on an electrified pole. Yeah, dropping through a glass window in a playhouse. He's not doing all that shit. And it's not even the most dangerous stunt in the movie by far. But that is the stunt that came the closest to killing him.
Thunder will roar, the sound wakes the universe, dragons will soar.
Yeah.
What happened is the branch broke that he was supposed to swing on, and he fell from this tree, which was probably the equivalent of like 1 story up.
Yeah.
But the thing was, his head landed right on a rock. And he actually tells a story of there was a cameraman who could have caught him.
Yugoslav cameraman was holding a camera like this.
Yeah.
If he put down the camera, just push me a little bit,
Yeah.
I think I would be safe.
Right.
But when he see my fall, let the camera run away. I was so lucky I know how to fall. You know,
Yeah.
I fall like this, boom.
Yeah. On to Andy. Yeah.
You know, if I fall like this,
Yeah.
gone. Because I fall like this.
Right.
Just tiny punch, boom.
Jackie Chan needed brain surgery after that. He went and he got brain surgery, and he has a, I think it's like a plastic plug in his brain. He has it to this day.
And this was the first. This was the first shot. This was like the first sequence of.
Yeah, it was the
movie.
first scene of the movie, and I think it
I don't
was
know when they
also.
shot it.
I think it was also the first thing they shot, just based on the fact
They
of
had
he
to
has like
pause for brain surgery.
Yeah, but he has a completely different like haircut the rest of the movie. If you notice, his hair's like way shorter in the opening. That's longer, and it's the more like kind of typical Jackie haircut. So it's notable for that. That's probably like, you know, if you're a Jackie Chan fan, I think you have to see it just for the fact that it's the movie that almost killed him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, out of all his injuries and all his crazy stunts, that seemingly pretty simple one, as far as like his stunts
Went by
concerned,
me. I
is the
didn't
most
even-
dangerous one. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. Like, you don't even really register it as like that crazy of a stunt in the movie because
Yeah.
it's in the middle of this. Like, it's right before the big sliding down the hill,
Right.
and it's right after the, you know, stuff with all the fire. So it's like kind of just sandwiched in between other. In retrospect, like maybe it's like a roasted the glasses kind of thing. I only remember like the good parts of this movie going into it. I didn't remember all the downtime that's boring, all the humor that doesn't work. I remembered that stunt because it almost killed him. I remembered the sliding down the hill. I remember the hot air balloon. I remember the bizarre fight with the 4 identical ladies, stuff like that.
Which are iconic things, which is great.
Yeah,
It
so I
makes the
remembered all
movie
those
great.
big moments. What I didn't remember is how spaced out they were and how much stuff that doesn't work very well is all in between
Right.
those things.
Right, there was a point in which you were like, wow, it's been a really long time actually since we've seen a fight scene.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a long time. I forgot, like, probably too long.
Yeah, and there are other Jackie Chan movies where like it'll go a long time between fights. Like Wheels on Meals is another one. It sounds like I said the title wrong, but that's the right title. It is Wheels on Meals, not Meals on Wheels. They just did it backwards.
Yeah, Wheels on Meals.
Yeah, the little tire riding atop a turkey dinner is what you picture when you hear that. That's another one where there's a lot of downtime. But it has like super high highs, you know.
If the acting is good, then I'm okay with downtime. I don't really care if there's a lot of downtime in an action movie. I know you're different in that regard because you know how like structures of movies should be. And like,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
I will say
scripts and
like as a
stuff.
script, usually the script isn't like as much of a priority in a martial arts film, you know.
Right.
In this one, the script is, I would say, it's weak even for a movie where if you're just watching for the fights, it's still a pretty weak script because there's moments where like just structurally it makes no sense to have like there's a point where they go on like a rescue mission, right? And at the point that it's happening in the movie, it makes no sense for them to just go in, rescue the person, and then go out like mission accomplished. It just doesn't make any sense to have a successful mission at this point in the movie. Like structurally, what should have happened is they should have gone in there to rescue her. Shit goes sideways, and they spend the rest of the movie in that cave system, and then they get out at the end. Instead of having them go in, successful mission, and then contrive reason for them to go right back in, and then the rest of the movie happens in there.
Right.
Them leaving and coming back is so pointless.
I think Jackie Chan is actually a pretty good actor.
Yeah, this makes him look awful.
It makes him look like really bad.
Yeah, he is doing
a lot of these people and some of the other actors, like the main rich guy, he looked like a pretty good actor. And,
well, I mean, I have no idea who he is, but like,
and the main female actress too, she seemed like she would be good too, but she was fucking terrible because of the
awful
dub.
because of the dub. Well, but also his, I would say especially
It
his
ruins
like,
any of the
his
romance.
co-star, his like buddy, The other
Yeah.
guy who's like he's like
Oh,
a bad
and he was
fighter.
shit too.
He
with
was
the
so
British
bad.
accent.
I don't know if it was just his dub. I think that actor might not have been great anyway, just like based on his physical performance.
Now
he seemed
that-
a little
Yeah,
but the dub makes it hard to tell.
The
though.
weird things he would do with his body to like make jokes and like have fun.
Yeah, that's
now
the
that's a
thing.
very like Jackie Chan thing
Well, yeah,
to
like,
do, in my
usually
opinion, is have like
slapstick-
that guy that's doing.
It's a lot of
goofy shit.
slapstick.
But
Yeah.
with the dub, I just thought I don't know.
I don't
It
think
didn't
you can
play
blame it
well.
all on the dub. I think the slapstick is just not as good in this one.
Well, because they have that a lot of times
Like-
in Jackie Chan movies, where it's like,
Oh yeah, I mean he's like a king of slapstick. I think.
you know, where there's like the co
Yeah, his
Not
like goofy
co-star.
co-star.
Right,
Yeah, his
where he's
goofy
like-
buddy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was in the one
Like the buddy cop in Police Story. He had
Yes.
the buddy cop who was all goofy and
Yeah,
they did like
and
a
he-
knife
he, like,
fight.
breaks
and
in
that was a
with the-
terrible dub too. Police Story.
Yeah.
That one didn't even have Jackie doing his own dub, but we still loved the movie.
Yeah.
You know, because the humor worked more, the slapstick worked really well,
And I
there
didn't
was
really
more
like
action
that
space
quirkiness
throughout.
either at first. Like of the guy who comes
Well,
in
the
and
music
stabs.
was really bad in that Police Story scene. The music
Yeah.
is what really killed that scene. But I also think that's a pretty fun scene in
It just didn't land for me in this one though, which yeah, maybe it's
Well,
not just because the dub.
That's what I'm trying to get at. I think the slapstick is just not quite as good in this one. Like a lot of Jackie Chan's humor is physical, and that's part of why it can kind of transcend a bad dub. Is because
Yeah.
it's like universal. It's like physical comedy, right? But the physical comedy in this one, I think, is just not as tightly conceived. Like remember that bit where
It kind of seems
he's like sneaking through
poorly
the place?
directed almost. Who
Well,
directed?
there were two directors. I think
were.
Jackie Chan's credited as a director, and then there's this other guy credited.
He's probably like the
I think it might.
choreography direction.
Yeah, it's either a
action
thing where
scenes.
Jackie just directed the fight scenes and maybe the stunts, or it's a thing where the other director was not doing a good job and Jackie like fired him because he's done that on a few sets where he like
Yeah.
kicked off the original director. So I don't know which it is for this specific thing.
It just seemed really messy. It seemed
Yeah, it
like,
does seem very messy.
and the pacing of the editing was poor too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you remember that the one bit where he's like sneaking through the cave and he comes up behind the guy and he goes like this?
Yeah, and
And
he
the guy
sticks his
turns
hand in his
around and
mouth.
screams,
Yeah.
and then Jackie sticks his hand in his mouth, and he like pulls him down and then punches him or whatever, and the guy
Yeah.
bites his hand.
Right.
So
As if that's what's supposed to be happening.
yeah, that's like a slapstick beat, but it makes no sense because he's sneaking through the cave. He intentionally made the guy scream so that he could put his hand in his mouth to, I think, stop him from screaming.
It looked strategic to me. I didn't think it was
Yeah.
slapstick,
It
which was
looked
confusing.
strategic.
I thought it was like, oh, this is Jackie Chan like being a badass.
Well, it's supposed to be
but
funny.
then it was like, what?
Him scaring the guy, and then him like he was like shaking his hand off because he got his hand. But those were supposed to be funny. But it just didn't make any sense.
It
It's
did
like,
not land at all.
and it's just like little beats that are in other Jackie Chan movies where he'll like come up behind someone and he'll like scare them, and then they'll do like a.
but those make sense.
So yeah. So usually it's strategic and it's like clever, and if it's not funny, then it's at least like cool. It's like a cool way to disarm someone.
Right.
Like that. I'm thinking of a moment in Mr. Nice Guy. Right now, one of the best Jackie Chan movies, but it's a fun one. And he does this thing where like when you have to like take someone out, he does this thing where like he has like an empty gun and he gives the guy the empty gun and tricks him into. Stuff like that. It's like that quick little back and forth moment, and then you disarm the guy or whatever.
Right.
In Operation Condor 2, aka Armour of the Gods 2, in that there's this whole running gag of he's always like gets a gun pointed at him and then he disarms him in a really creative way. I want to make clear it's not bad. We're kind of highlighting the flaws right now in comparison to other Jackie Chan movies. I don't think it's bad. Maybe you do think it's bad. I would still rate it quite positively. I think overall, like the highs of it really overcome a lot of the lows for me.
I think it's a poor movie.
You think it's poor?
I think it's worth a watch because of the action. Here's the plot. We start with Jackie Chan in this tropical island, and I'm just gonna go based on what I.
It's not tropical, but okay.
Yeah, just based on what where my brain was at when I watched it. Some tropical island or some island of some sort.
They
and
just say
he's-
Africa,
and he's stealing something,
which is not tropical.
or he's hiding from something.
He's trying to be sneaky and steal the sword of God. Is what he's trying to do.
Right.
From these villagers who are like worshiping it, I think. I
And
remember the thing with the can. That was so stupid.
yeah,
He has a
we gotta
smoke
pause for
grenade.
that. There's a beat.
It was completely pointless.
Can you run through that?
Yeah,
That's-
there's this part where Jackie Chan, he's like being chased, and then he stops and he turns around and he pulls out a
in the
beer.
midst of this big, huge
Yeah.
chase scene, like this, there's a bunch of guys
Right.
chasing him and fighting him.
Yeah, he stops at it's like a stone window to a big hill. He stops at
whatever.
it. He turns around. He takes out a beer. He tosses it to them. And they catch it. They're like, "Oh, what is this?" Because they've never seen it.
Oh, they get all excited.
Yes, he
No,
did.
they go, hey!
Well, not not until he has to like show them what it is. So he opens a beer, he drinks it, whatever, right? Then they try to open it, and it's like a smoke grenade.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the smoke grenade did not fucking matter.
No.
He then just goes through the window that he stopped at and slides down the hill.
He could have just went
what
out the window.
What the fuck was the
and
point?
they followed him immediately.
They immediately followed him. The smoke grenade didn't like slow them down and all. But also, he could. What is the point of disguising it as a beer?
I think it's just poor writing. I think there's just people
supposed
who
to be
just have
funny, I guess.
no idea. Like there was a writer in this group that was just like way off.
But just think
they
about
were just
it for
like, let's
1
do
second.
a thingy, and then they do the thingy, but they don't think of why and what the point of
But
it
like,
is
okay,
and how
but
to even execute it.
Boil it down to the essence of what's happening, right? He is throwing a smoke grenade at them. Is the essence of what's happening.
Right.
But instead, he wants to trick them into activating the smoke grenade for no reason.
Right, he could have threw it at them.
Why? There's no reason for it to be disguised as a beer.
Right.
Especially when...
Yeah, you're not James Bond.
Especially
you're
when
not-
they... Yeah, that's what the James Bond thing is.
Right.
They're like the gadgets,
The
right?
gadgets,
I think
yeah.
it was just they wanted to homage
He should have
Indiana
had
Jones
like
and James Bond.
explosive gum that he chewed
Yeah.
and spit it at people.
Yeah, that would have fit. He's like a machine gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so forget the fact that there's no reason for it to be disguised. They go out of their way to make it clear that these people don't know what a canned beer is.
Yeah.
So the disguise is counterproductive to what he's doing.
Right.
He needs to have a real
And
beer
be like
with
him throwing something at them and then being like, they would probably be like, this is violent. We don't know what this is.
Yeah, they don't know what
They
it is.
wouldn't be
It's
like,
metal.
yeah!
It's metal. The only metal in their camp is like in the braziers and in the spears they have, not like consumables. So I don't know what but anyway, right, the whole point of the beer is so that someone would think it's a beer and go, I'll have this beer, and then it cracks in the face, right? These people who don't know what a beer is, he had to take an actual beer that matches the fake one and open it to show them, like, oh, it's a beer, drink it, and then drink it. Instead of just taking an actual smoke grenade and pulling the pin, he needs to do this whole thing where he like mimes drinking a real beer. It's so counterintuitive. It makes absolutely no sense.
It's stupid that he would even have a real beer and a fake beer.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's
because
also dumb.
why would he need to? If he needs to expressly like demonstrate it's a beer, you
Every
open it
time
like
with this
and
gadget,
you
he
drink
needs
it.
to have an identical.
Right? What is the point of disguising it as a beer if they don't know what a beer is?
Right.
Like, there's no point.
Right? Yeah, that was a
Ridiculous.
dumb. That was a dumb.
But it's one of a number of things. So there's no point. Like, remember his dirt bike? There's a point where he
Oh
gets
my
a dirt
God.
bike out of
It's a-
fucking nowhere.
It's a badass little cut together scene
It's
with him
edited
riding
really
a bike
cool.
for no reason. There's
For no reason. And it's like
for
5
this
seconds
badass
long.
dirt bike
Yeah,
scene.
he doesn't like have
He
the dirt
gets
bike.
off and climbs up a
Yeah,
fucking hill.
he's in like his hotel room or whatever, right? And then,
Not with the dirt bike.
Yeah, not with the dirt bike. He's just in there with his buddies. Hard cut, him on a dirt bike.
Yeah.
Shooting up this mountain as fast as possible, right? But then it's like 5 seconds or less later, his dirt bike gets too steep and it tips over, and then he goes up on foot. What the fuck was the point of the dirt bike?
There was no point for the dirt bike. He
So
could have just walked.
This movie's full of pointless stuff like that.
He goes through the bushes, gets in a plane, and he escapes. Okay, classic Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, it's basically the exact opening of the first Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Because they have the travel people chasing him. He runs to an airplane and flies away in the very first Indiana Jones thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's definitely more indie than 007.
Yeah.
But you can see this.
And his
007
character is
stuff.
nothing like, the cool
Like
secret
either of them,
agent.
yeah.
No, yeah.
He's just kind of the Jackie Chan archetype. But not really. He's not like as goofy or like
right.
slapsticky. He's
Yeah,
kinda
and like
just,
whiny and like emotionally funny and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's
you know?
kind of just he has like no personality.
Like we
in
didn't
this
see any like crazy cool funny moment like with
Yeah.
the phones and shit where he's
Yeah,
doing
like for
all
police.
that.
There's
and
none of that.
Like with the police.
one. So like Jackie Chan
yeah.
always has these like dexterity things that are a lot of fun, where it's like stuff that isn't really action.
He did some
but
stuff
it's
in
like,
that in here.
But it's pretty
it was
much
really
it's
out
just
of place.
the gum, pretty much, right? Like,
Yeah, and it's like really like for some reason we're so focused on the shot, almost like it's an insert shot.
Yeah.
It's like it really takes you out of the scene because it's not like it's like he's running and then he just pops a piece of gum in his mouth. No, he's standing there talking
It makes
and
a
then
big deal.
and then he puts gum on his hand.
He talks
and
for like
holds
he
it-
like monologues with it like
holds
this,
it
and then he
there,
does it. Yeah.
and then he goes. Anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kill you now. I'm telling you, it's like the writer was just like, you should do these things, it'd be awesome. And he has a list of things that should be done, but there's no reason for them. So the sword is sold to the female protagonist, And then we're talking with this friend, and the friend
is completely unrelated to the auction, we should say.
Yeah.
Because the friend's not involved in the auction. Basically, Jackie sells the sword. He goes back to his like hotel or whatever. I think they're in Austria. Anyway, just randomly, I think that's where they are.
Oh, yeah, right. Because then, so anyways, this girl gets captured, which kind of happens out of nowhere. Yeah. And then we cut to, this is from my memory.
Oh, and the girl is his bandmate. And the friend is his other bandmate.
Right, yeah.
But we didn't know that until like the very end of the movie when I realized, that's who they're supposed to be.
So then we pick up with their friend, and his friend and him are having a conversation. He's like, "Oh, my sister, someone stole my sister. Someone kidnapped my sister." Oh yeah, I thought it was his sister.
His fiance.
Right.
Who was in the band.
Someone kidnapped my fiance. And so then it cuts to, and they're sneaking into some guy's mansion or something like that. Oh yeah, there's some armor that they need.
The Armour of God. That's what the title of the movie is.
They need the Armour of God in order to get his sister back for ransom, I think.
Right. It's like you said.
His fiance.
Yeah. It's like you said. It was like Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like the Exodia pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
They need the 5 Armour of God pieces. Yeah. Where they're joined together. It's all powerful.
I got his leg.
I got the left foot of Exodia.
I got the toe.
Yeah. It's a pure coincidence that they're ransoming for part of the thing that Jackie just happened to steal. It's completely coincidental.
Right. I think it was exposition that told us that, that him having the conversation with Jackie Chan was how we even know that was the ransom. It wasn't like a scene or anything.
They might have targeted her because she was in the band with him, and he's the one who stole the thing.
That would be good.
But that's nowhere in the movie. You have to infer that.
Yeah, that would be motivation.
That's some connective tissue that makes it work, but they never say that in the movie.
No.
Because there's a rich guy who owns 3 of the Armour of God pieces. The bad guys already have 2 of them, and they're ransoming for those other 3. So this is where it gets confusing.
They don't get caught. They just are there, and there's a whole bunch of dogs, right?
Yeah, there's no reason for them to be there, but they're in on a tour. It's like a guided tour of the mansion for whatever.
It looked like they were sneaking in though. They were like, "Whoa, what's this?"
Well, because there's all the dogs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they go in, and there's all these dogs.
They do go in. They go in uninvited.
Yeah.
And then there's all these dogs, and then the guy immediately goes, "Oh, come with me," as if they're expected, but they weren't.
Right.
And they go on this
and it wasn't
tour.
like the dogs were chasing him or something like that. It was like they were going on a walk.
Yeah, there was
with fucking 50
There were
Dobermans.
5 butlers, each with 5 handfuls of
Dobermans specifically.
Yeah. Okay, so they go there uninvited. The dogs show up.
Right.
Then another butler comes up on a golf cart and goes, "Oh, come on this tour," or whatever. They go on the tour,
and in the midst of it, I think he invites them to stay the night. Maybe I don't really know, but I think they stay the night because it looks like they're still in
And I don't know why they stay the night because they don't know him.
No.
But they went there uninvited, and they don't know him. They went there uninvited, but the guy whose place it is acting like he was expecting them. It's not in the movie, but if you can if you really infer, I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt here, connect all these dots that are not really in the movie. He might have invited them to stay because he was expecting them to try to steal the stuff, and he wanted them to because he knew that Jackie's the one who just sold it at auction. So maybe he
the woman kind of the female,
it was his daughter,
the protagonist kind of looked at him like she knew what was going on with the bidding situation. She bought it.
Right. So maybe he thought
maybe she was working for.
She bought it for her dad.
Right.
So maybe he
told her dad about Jackie Chan.
Right. I don't know how they knew that this random guy's fiance would get kidnapped and then he would ask Jackie to help and then they would go steal it. I don't know how that makes sense. But maybe when Jackie showed up at his house... Yeah, but the butler's the one who saw him, so that still doesn't make sense.
This video should be called Trying to Explain the Plot of...
Armour of God, AKA, blah, blah,
AKA.
Blah. Trying to explain the fucking title. Because Jackie and the friend want them because they need his 3 pieces to bring to the other... people with the 2 pieces to get the fiance.
Yeah. They ask him, they say, "No, the reason we were trying to go into your house and steal this shit is because I'm trying to save my wife's life."
And he's like,
I
don't care.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck.
So he's like, I need the other pieces. But then, so the deal that they make, does the deal make sense? The deal is you give us your 3 pieces to bring to these people who have 2 pieces, and then in return, you'll get all 5 pieces? I guess it kind of makes sense.
So they go to Yugoslavia, which is a place where there's the 2 more armor pieces, and they're supposed to bring the 3 pieces and say see, we got these. We'll give you these if you give I don't know.
For the woman back. For the
Oh,
wife,
for the woman.
fiancé, who's
Right,
been kidnapped.
right. And then I forgot how they get there.
The 80s montage, that was awful.
Oh my gosh.
One of the worst montages.
Oh my
Terrible
gosh.
music. It's supposed to be a montage based on
Supposed to be
the
like an
music.
80s American 80s movie
Yeah.
montage, but it's cut together so
It's-
slowly.
Yeah, it's edited so slowly, but it's
Yeah.
clearly supposed to
With
be
awful
montage.
music.
Like the stuff we're seeing is montage stuff, and the music is definitely 80s montage music, and it's like
They get pulled over by the cops.
For no
How
reason.
lame.
Yeah.
How lame is that? These badass people that we're supposed to be following, and then they're on their way to the adventure. There's no reason for them to get
Yeah.
pulled over by the cops. The car's cool. I don't think it's like a cool sports car. I just
well,
think
it
it's
looks
an
stupid.
iconic
It
car.
looks so dumb.
It does. It looks dumb. It looks like a kid's toy.
But
From
it's a good
McDonald's.
commercial for Mitsubishi, though. Like
Yeah.
it turns on a dime, you know. It
Yeah.
reverses really fast.
Oh yeah.
We were impressed
that
by
car was like.
There's a great chase scene with it.
Yeah.
The chase scene is legitimately awesome.
Does that
The
happen?
stunts are fucking nuts.
There's two bad guys. There's the mini boss looking guy, and then
Yeah.
there's the big boss looking guy. But
Let's
it's
see
not
what's-
cool like that. It really is a
No,
mini
yeah.
boss and boss. It's not like that.
It's like he's like a lame middle-aged man.
yeah.
They're trying to say, here's the ransom exchange. We'll give you the stuff in my backpack, which is the armor pieces you want. That's what's supposed to be.
Oh
happening.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I got the pieces in my backpack. Take me to the
Right. They were trying to do a little switcheroo
Yeah,
because he
and
doesn't
then
have the
it's-
pieces in his backpack.
Right. Yeah, he has like pots and pans in there, right?
Right.
And I don't think he knew that. I think he thought it was the armor pieces and the daughter.
Right, because
screwed him over.
weren't they supposed to bring it?
Yeah.
So
She did have
so the
them. They
dad
were just in her
basically
room.
said bring these and then exchange it, but
But they didn't.
there was actually he didn't give it to them.
Yeah.
So they never even had the three pieces there.
Well, but they were in her hotel room, so they did bring them. It's just they weren't in the backpack at that
Oh
moment.
my gosh.
So I don't really understand.
There's
why.
so many holes.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Because why do you even need to make the deal with the dad if you don't have the pieces? Because you don't need the pieces at that point because they never exchanged them.
So there's the bit where
So they didn't really matter
where,
to the
where
mission.
the friend is like, here, I have the pieces, like give
Yeah.
me my wife or whatever, and then they open it and they go, hold on a sec. They open it and there's nothing there.
Yeah,
And
that's when the car
when
chase happened. Remember they like didn't have enough robes for all the monks.
Yeah.
It's like most of them were in robes, and then there's
Yeah.
like one guy in a leather cowboy vest.
Yeah,
and
so-
there's one guy in like a sleeveless, like a leather daddy outfit.
Yeah.
The rest of them are like monk robes. Then
There's
there's
a
car.
sweet ass
The
fucking
car
chase
chase
scene.
is great. It's the first like great scene in the movie because the opening would be good if it wasn't so racist.
Yeah.
I think fans of this movie would just be saying, "Oh, you're thinking about it too much. You know, like you're reading too much into the plot. Just enjoy that, whatever." Right? But it is like 40 minutes before we
hardcore
get
kung
to
fu
the.
fans would probably say that. Yeah.
But I would
like-
say with all the other Jackie Chan movies we've covered, they have such a better story.
Absolutely.
And the humor lands, the slapstick lands. You don't have
It's just
that in this
confusing. Is what's the point of watching a movie where it's all it is just
The
action
plot is
choreography
so messed
for no
up.
reason? It's like who cares?
But anyway, I do
I'll
wanna
watch
talk about-
MMA or fucking
Yeah.
use.
Well, I do want to talk about the strengths too as well, right? And this car chase is a strength. This car chase is fucking great.
oh yeah,
There's so many. It's not just like one great stunt. You have the
it's
big-
amazing.
Yeah.
It's like
and
this.
it's dangerous. It's like
Yeah.
There's shots where like a what is it, a van or whatever, a jeep jumps off of a ledge over a motorcycle with two people on it.
Yeah.
Which is like holy
yeah.
shit.
And there's a scene where
Where it goes
the
up the
scene
stairs?
goes over a fucking like building with people eating in the restaurant.
Well, yeah, there's the one where it's like this really steep
Literally
staircase.
over real people. And
Yeah.
you know it's Jackie Chan, that's the best thing, is you know the fucking stunts are real.
But
and
the,
that's
the
like
people that it goes
crazy.
over on the staircase look like random extras.
Right, then
they
the
don't
Jeep
look like
tumbles
stunt
down
men.
the staircase,
Yeah.
and these extra
And it's not
people,
like it's not like clearing the staircase.
no,
it's going like
tumbling down.
and it's like not like one guy, like one stuntman diving.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of people, like civilians, running away.
Yeah, you never do that shit. That's a huge safety issue.
Which
with,
makes
with
it really
fucking
exciting.
filmmaking.
So let's
You don't ever have a possibility.
They might all just be stuntmen. They might be the whole JC stunt team, like in civilian clothing. It's possible.
Right.
But it just looks like they're
And maybe the car has a cable behind it that's holding it from actually...
Definitely not. The way that it was falling, no fucking way. That's a real car going down a staircase. It looks dangerous.
It's really it pissed me off as an AD. I was like, that should not be happening.
Yeah, you were like,
these
cut!
Yeah, this people
Stop
should not. Yeah. Both the car that they're driving and the Jeep.
The big showstopper.
Goes over a 2-lane highway.
More than 2 lane. Two
lane and then a split and then 2 lanes
that
again.
Big gap between them.
A giant gap.
It's
goes
like
over
2 separate freeways, basically.
It's like Evil
Crazy.
Knievel type shit.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It's the first like part of the movie where you're fully invested and you're like, fuck
I'm
yeah.
like, all right, I want to watch the rest.
And for me, it's like it's what makes everything before it like worthwhile. Is that car chase? For you, I guess not. It's not
I would
quite
just
enough.
skip to the car chase and watch
For
the
me,
car chase.
well, I'm not saying you can't skip to the car chase. I'm saying having one with that cool is like, oh, okay, it was worth watching all that other stuff, right? Like it's not just a waste of time, you know. Like everything else, there's really nothing enjoyable before then, except for a couple moments in the opening that are kind of cool on their own, and then nothing at all. Like none of the humor lands, nothing. None of the character work is going on. None of the acting's good. The plot's not engaging or coherent really. And then you have the car chase. So it's like fuck yeah. And then it goes back to being kind of nonsense for a little while. And then you have the ending is a little better because most of the action's in the end, like most of the fighting and stuff.
Yeah, I would say for someone who is like a kung fu fan or like a fan of like fun little action films like this, it's definitely, I would say them just wait for the, keep watching, it'll get more interesting, right? But for someone who's not, I feel like it's just way too long.
It's not a good starter Jackie Chan movie.
Absolutely
for sure.
not. Probably the worst thing you could watch if
I would say it's still better than a lot of his American movies.
Like Rush Hour?
The first Rush Hour is fine. Honestly, I haven't seen the Rush Hour movies I haven't seen them in a long time, so it might be better than all of them.
I think Rush Hour is a good way to show off that Jackie Chan's
it's some of his better American
moves of
movies,
moving, items and stuff like that.
It's some of his better American stuff. It's better than like The Medallion, for instance. Rush Hour never hits the highs of this though, like of that car chase.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think that car chase is better than anything in
right.
any of the Rush Hour movies.
Right. Well, that's something that like American.
You would never do that hot air balloon jump in
that's
Rush
yeah,
Hour.
that's a whole nother.
Because all I remember were the highlights, honestly. Like, I didn't remember all the weak stuff until we just rewatched it. I remembered the car chase. I remembered the huge jump. I remembered the crazy fight with the like Amazon women or whatever. I remembered the hot air balloon jump.
Yeah.
I remembered all the highlights. I didn't remember all the lowlights.
Anyways, so we do the action scene, the car chase scene, which I don't remember how they end up actually getting away.
Well, he does the dumb part of the car chase is when he goes, activate double turbo mode or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That's another one of the James Bond things.
Oh, that was so
little
stupid.
Mitsubishi car has like super nitro boost. That was dumb. That almost like ruins it.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that.
But he does that and blah, blah, blah. That's how he gets over the jump in the first place. But then the motorcycle will do it anyway, even though they don't have the nitro.
But then what happens?
He goes to the bridge, and then 2 guys are on each side of the bridge, and then even stupider, he launches out on a little tiny rocket car like that, like just fits him and his buddy.
So now they're trying to find the armor on their own because
they're trying to find the fiance. They're looking for the fiance at this point.
Oh yeah. They're looking for the fiance
who has been
to grab the fiance and just leave.
She's been drugged up with some
right. We watch her get injected with fucking fruit punch.
They rescue the fiance.
Yeah.
They bring her back to the thing, and then she's acting like as if she was injected with like heroin or something, like just kind of like dazed and like non-responsive. That kind of thing is her reaction. But then they act like she was on some kind of like psycho controlling thing. They introduce a completely pointless like love triangle that feels so out of place and just comes out of absolutely nowhere.
Right, because she kisses him on the cheek.
Right, and it like gives the cold shoulder to her fiance. Right, so it's like okay,
for no reason.
And then at the same time,
almost
and then Jackie Chan like walks out of that room, walks into the other lady's room, and then all of a sudden there's a romance between them out of nowhere.
Yeah,
even though they've been like antagonistic. There's no point where because at first she's like their adversary. She's like babysitting them for her dad, who's like kind of a bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's his thing. So he's like, or she's like,
It seems pretty clear to me that there's going to be a romance between her and Jackie Chan.
Well, because movies condition you to
Exactly.
expect a romance between the male lead and the female lead, but
Right.
there's no like chemistry. They don't even like talk to each other.
Yeah.
There's like no dialogue.
Well, there was with the bagel. There was like a little bit of like hard to get.
That was her talking to the other guy though.
Yeah, but it was
Mostly.
he said, but she overheard him saying,
Yeah, but that's not-
I gave her spoiled butter." Like,
There's no like romance.
well, there is. That's like a little bit of like a I hate you kind of thing.
You think so?
Yeah,
Okay.
like where they're
I
enemies,
didn't
and I
catch
think
that,
that's why she shot a little too close when she shot the sniper rifle. She shot a little too close.
That's
to
like
Jackie Chan.
flirting?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't get that. But for me, I was reading that as she's the enemy because she's the daughter of the guy who's the
Right,
bad guy.
right.
She's going with them explicitly.
Rich. Yeah.
Well, he is like, oh, your fiance's gonna die. I don't give a shit. Go
Yeah.
steal
He,
that
like,
stuff from me.
one-ups them, yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean that's a bad guy in my book.
Yeah, yeah.
He's not like the villain of the movie,
Right.
but that's a bad guy in my book. So she's his daughter. She's going with them on this mission,
Right.
specifically for her dad to be like, oh, I'll make sure they don't run off with your stuff. I'll make sure they do it.
Right.
So she's like antagonistic to them.
Right.
And then at no point does she have like a shift. There's no character arc.
No.
She just all of a sudden is like, yay, I'm with the good guys and we're celebrating together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like that. You got to earn that, and also you got to build up to this romance. I didn't read them as flirting with her shooting at him.
So
but I
it's
guess
just
that could be the build-up.
we're now at this like classic situation where like they rescued the girl and they achieved the goal, and now they're all like downtime, right?
Well, and I want to say that I think this movie does a real disservice to the two female characters. I think it's very like chauvinistic in the writing that there's like no character or personality
At all.
for either of the women,
it's so
especially the fiance. She has like you can count her lines of dialogue on one hand. You know,
Yeah.
they like. She's got like nothing to say,
And the
nothing
lines
to do,
of her dialogue
and her
are
actions
literally,
don't
like,
make any sense.
2 words.
Yeah, she's like
Okay,
or yeah, stuff like that. She's got like nothing.
I don't
to do.
trust him or something
Stuff
like
like that. Yeah.
So they have this. So
And
Jackie
just
Chan.
everyone's into Jackie. It's like that's the writing. It's like the male lead. Oh, every female's got the hots for him.
Yeah.
That's like what they're there for. It's awful.
He like starts having some romance, and then he calls her a whore,
Yeah.
and she slaps him, and that's the end of that.
Yeah.
So then we cut to.
Wait, can you explain to me why did he call her a whore? Was he making a joke?
He was making a joke, and it didn't land.
and it didn't land.
Or she just didn't. She just.
Okay, that's what I thought. But then when he apologized for it later,
He ruined the mood by making a joke about her being
Yeah.
a whore. This is the crazy left turn it takes. So
Yeah.
we've rescued the girl, and now it's like on her way home, but she's clearly something's up with her. So then she ends up fucking stabbing her fiance with a syringe.
yeah, she injects him.
She injects him with
Yeah.
the same thing as she has, which makes this like, oh, now it's mind control. So either she's been a part of it the whole time,
She's
which
either,
makes no
she's either
sense.
a double agent, yeah,
Yeah, which
or
makes
she's
no
being
sense.
mind controlled by the drug, which also makes no sense.
Which means what is their point? What do they want? Why do they want this guy?
yeah,
Whoa. What is their angle? Right. What is the main villain's angle to like mind control her to do that?
well, you would think the bad guys want the armor, right? She's in the hotel with the armor pieces,
Right.
If they have a mind controlled person, but she doesn't take the armor. She kidnaps some dude that they don't give a shit about.
Right. Right. So then
So if she is a double agent or mind controlled, it makes no sense to kidnap her own fiance than to take the gold or the god pieces, which is what they actually want.
So this is what's ridiculous. That happens. We don't even see that Jackie Chan finds this out.
No.
We just wake up the next
That's
morning.
when hard cuts to the motorbike.
We just wake up the next morning.
There's no wake up.
No, there is. We
Hard
wake
cut
up the
to
next morning, and
Oh, right, yeah,
they're
he
like
talks
at
to
a
the-
table,
to the-
and they think
yeah,
they see a
to the
syringe
daughter.
on the table or
Yeah.
something, and then it's hard cuts to the motorbike.
Hard cuts to the motorbike.
Yeah.
But the thing with the fiance, right? I don't even know. I can't even explain how little sense this makes. She kidnaps him, but then when Jackie goes there, she is again tied up like captive.
Right.
And she's just good
fully
again.
conscious.
Yeah, she's just normal.
It's a whole nother day later, it feels like.
And it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense.
And they don't talk to her like, why did you do that?
And why is
They
it the
just
dude
rescue her
trying to
again.
do some mind control bullshit?
Yeah.
Like what?
It
What?
absolutely makes zero sense.
Yeah. Somewhere in there, there's
Yeah,
this
it's
really
first.
cool fight scene.
There's a great fight scene in like a food hall.
Right.
It's like it's the best fight scene in the movie by far.
Yeah.
It's classic Jackie Chan stuff.
Yeah. Jackie Chan's fighting a whole bunch of
A
monks.
lot of dexterous stuff, a lot of good uses of props,
Yeah.
lots of like really cool little stunts where like Guy backflips like onto his shins and does a second backflip.
Yeah.
Right? This whole thing where Jack Chan like rolls across the bench is awesome. But great fight scene.
Yeah.
Excellent, top-notch.
Really good fight scene. Really good hand-to-hand combat stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And it's another like highlight of the movie. It's another one of those scenes that like makes it worth watching. You know?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the only great fight scene, I think. Because there are other fight scenes,
I would agree.
but I don't think any of them are great. Like, even the really bizarre one. Jackie Chan goes to the main bad guy. He has like 4 people in robes with like the hoods on.
Yeah.
And you don't see who they are. And he's so confident in them. He goes like, you think you've got me, but you haven't faced my final challenge.
My
right?
final 4.
And then these 4 people rip off these robes.
They jump. No, they jump.
Oh, they jump.
Off
They
the
jump and the
fucking
robes
staircase,
fly off.
and the
them.
robes
Yeah.
fly off them.
Like Amazon women, these like gigantic women
Amazon,
who
yeah,
all
with
have
these
the same like
crazy
makeup and
fucking
hair and
makeup.
outfits. They have this crazy like Amazon black eyeshadow thing.
Yeah.
They all have like 80s like rock star hair.
Yeah.
They're wearing like skin tight leather.
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost like a leather like leotard almost.
Yeah.
Not quite, but like it's got that.
It's like
kind
a
of shape to
skin-tight
it.
leather leotard.
Yeah.
With
And
the
they have
fucking
high heels on.
cleavage and the high heels.
Yeah.
And very weird.
It's so bizarre.
Like ferocious Amazonian sexy
Yeah.
woman.
It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
And I
just
love it.
conceptually.
I love it.
You loved it.
I love it.
I like it.
I like that.
I like it too.
I don't think it fits.
It doesn't.
But
It's
I
just,
just
so
love it.
bizarre. I kind of can't get over how weird it is to like. It stops me from like enjoying that scene. Like I can't like engage with it because it's just so bizarre.
Yeah,
for me.
it really pulls away from the movie completely.
It's yeah. And for me, it's like it's a good fight. It's enjoyable. There's some cool choreo. There's good moments in it. But for me, it is so out of left field that I can't fully connect with it because of that.
I
reason.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't. It's more like I was laughing the whole time. It feels
Yeah.
like. It feels like I'm just like, what the fuck?
Well, there's fun moments like they just kick him in the balls repeatedly over and over again, which is perfect.
Yeah.
There's a thing where like he punches him. Like, and they do like a super slow-mo on their chest. And they have,
Oh,
like,
you know,
he
he
goes-
punches up with the boobs
He
going.
goes, and the sound effect is.
It's
The cave.
basically he ends up blowing up the whole cave because he has his stuff.
Like,
and he,
accidentally.
it's all like slapsticky. And
Yeah,
he
and that
accidentally
works.
blows everything
Yeah.
up, and that means there's no armor anymore or whatever, and they escape. And then
you have a fantastic stunt to finish it out on.
Yeah.
Which is this hot air balloon dive, which I think is like one of Jackie's best stunts.
I don't know when this happened. I don't know when they got in a
when
hot
they
air
got
balloon.
here, it's just
how
nonsense.
they knew to do
it's
that.
Nonsense. There's no rhyme or reason to them
Yeah.
suddenly being in a hot air balloon on the side of the cliff.
As if it was like planned.
Yeah, because he just rescued them when they were in there.
Right.
The other woman, I guess her plan the whole time was, I'll have a hot air balloon. But that means he was planning on leaping from the top of the cave this whole
Right.
time, which is like, what?
He ends up skydiving off the top of this cave.
Which is badass.
It's super cool. 'cause
Lands
it's
on
all
a hot air
real.
balloon.
It's all real.
Yeah.
And he fucking lands on a hot air balloon.
And it just,
Sweet stunt.
the
Pointless.
Well, it is so cool because like you can tell he's so fucking high.
Yeah.
He's literally skydiving.
Yeah, they
And-
shoot enough wides. But
And,
yeah.
like they do a good job of like, he's got a backpack on, so like he's got a parachute in there
Yeah,
in
of
case it
course.
went wrong. But I think it's disguised just well enough. Like they show what's in his backpack earlier in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They show he's got like the climbing gear in it or whatever. So I think it's just enough suspension of disbelief that you can watch it and be like,
Oh, I believed it.
yeah.
I believed he had nothing on him.
Well, he doesn't. But even with just a parachute, it's still
No,
fucking
but I saw
balls
the
in there.
backpack, but I thought he didn't have any parachute.
There's a parachute in the back.
But yeah, I'm telling
Yeah,
you right
that's
now.
what I'm saying. They
I
do a
thought
good job
he
of-
just
yeah.
jumped out.
Yeah, they do a good job making you think that. I mean, I don't know for sure he has a parachute. That's just my assumption.
I hope he does.
I'm positive he does, because otherwise it's just instant death.
That's Armor of Gold.
Armor. No, it's not. Armor of God.
Armor of God.
For me, the highlights of it are enough to make it still worthwhile. I think you said it was still worthwhile too. I would still rate it positively though. Like I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. I would say it's a very, very, very messy movie, and it's an awful screenplay. But a lot of kung fu movies have terrible screenplays, and they're still tons of fun.
This is the first Jackie Chan movie that I've like actually noticed the editing, like that it's actually poor.
Yeah. Because the other ones have all had great editing.
Yeah,
all the other ones
it's poor editing at times. At other times, like the action scenes, some of that stuff's good. It's really well done. I would say bad editing. I would say terrible plot, or at least just terrible execution of a plot, or just not enough thinking through the plot.
It's messy. And it's kind of lazy in some regards.
I didn't think the jokes are great, and I just didn't. I think. Not even just plot, but like even the moments and the beats itself, they just weren't thought through enough of how to make it work.
I would say the characters too. Like
characters were trash.
There's like non-existent characters.
There are no characters.
Well, the closest thing is his buddy who has his like, I want to be a tough guy. That's the closest thing that any of them have.
Definitely
no
arcs or anything.
No. You don't always need an arc, but like
there's no
like personality, there's no character traits.
Yeah.
Jackie's only character trait is he likes gum. And they say
meet Jackie. He likes gum.
This movie seems like it was written by someone who like had never met a female. Like, because imagine it's like you either got the hots for the leading man, or you're this crazy Amazon in a skin tight outfit with heels doing kung fu. It's like that's it.
Personally, it's a bad movie. I think it's a bad movie. I think overall it's bad. But I do think it's worth a watch if you are a kung fu fan, because there are lots of fun little things in it.
I would call it a must-watch for Jackie Chan fans.
I would call it a must-watch.
I think it is.
I wouldn't call it a must-watch.
I think those few stunts...
I'd call those moments...
If you're a Jackie Chan fan, I think it's a must-watch for the tree accident that almost killed him, for the car jump over the freeways, and for the hot air balloon jump. I think it's a must-watch for those three things. As a Jackie Chan fan. If you're not a Jackie Chan fan, then I'm sure you haven't watched this far into the video. Anyway, thanks for watching our review. Check out our other Jackie Chan reviews. We have done not both. We've done the first two police story movies, the two numbered police story movies, and we've done Project A, 1 and 2. I've also done a Jackie Chan tier list, which you can check out as well. Subscribe, stick around. We'll see you next time.